guys, today I wanted to talk about like a new author, new to me, that I've never read before. They have been writing books for like forever, like since like 1980s or something, as far as I could see, but I've never read any books by them, and that's Mary Downing Hahn. When I worked at Books A Million, the people that I worked with said that her Took book, which is this book, is really, really good. I said I've never read her stuff before, but they look really good. It took me a little bit before I actually started reading the books. I found her books again on Hoopla, which is free. It's connected to your library, so every month you get 5 free books that you can read for the month. So I was like, well, awesome, let me just try it to see what I think, because I've never read anything by her. It's juvenile fiction, so middle grade, 9 to 12-ish. That tends to be the age range that I read for. I love reading books meant for kids. I think they're fun, and usually it's nothing too crazy that happens in the books, so it doesn't traumatize you or anything. It tends to be pretty lighthearted. So I checked out Closed for the Season. That was the first book I read by her, and I fell in love. I love the way she writes. She writes like an adult. I'm gonna compare this to Goosebumps, basically. Goosebumps sounds like it's written by a 12-year-old. Not just that the main character's 12, but also that the book itself is written by a 12-year-old, is how it reads. These books read like they're written by an adult, but the protagonist just is 12. So it's interesting how they're different, because I think these books are very much like Goosebumps. Instead of monsters, it's ghosts. So she does a lot of ghost stuff. Some of these are like witch stuff. Pretty much everyone in it is either a ghost or a person, instead of it being like Goosebumps where they're monsters and things under the sink and stuff like that. I really, really enjoy, I just call her Mary Hahn because I never remember Downing for some reason. I love her books. In 5 days, I read 8 books, either on Hoopla or on Axis 360 or something. It's like a different website, kind of like Hoopla and Overdrive, but I did like another one like that that's connected to my library. So on both of those, I read those books and just fell in love. It's like when I was doing something, I was thinking in my head, I wish I was reading this book right now, which is crazy because I haven't felt that way about a book in a really long time. I used to feel that way about books, and I was like, I really wish I was reading right now, but I haven't felt that in a long time. So she's definitely brought my love of reading back. I can't even tell you the last time I went to a library. It's got to be like a year, 2 years or something crazy like that. But because of how much I love her, I went to the library and picked up some books. That's crazy for me. I went to the library for this lady. The only books that I haven't read that I want to read by her, because she does some historical fiction stuff too, and I don't tend to be a fan of that stuff. So I decided that the only ones I really want to read are the ghost ones and that nature. So the ones that I have checked out that I still need to read are The Dead Man in Indian Creek, Took, Witchcatcher, and Where I Belong. The other ones I'm not really interested in. They're historical, World War I. I don't know anything about history, so I don't really want to read those because I know I'm going to be confused the whole time. So I'm just going to hold off on those. The ones that I've read are Closed for the Season, The Old Willis Place, The Girl in the Locked Room, The Doll in the Garden, Deep and Dark and Dangerous, Wait Till Helen Comes, and All the Lovely Bad Ones. My top 3 favorites: probably Closed for the Season, The Doll in the Garden, and All the Lovely Bad Ones. I think those are my favorite. So if you wanted to pick up 3 of her books, or just one, if you want to pick up one, I would say The Doll in the Garden is my favorite, but they're all amazing. I love them all. They're so good. The Girl in the Locked Room I also really, really enjoyed. It kept kind of reminding me of something, but I don't know what it was. It just sounded familiar, but not in this is a copy of something I've read, but just in a this seems familiar kind of way, but it was still very, very good. I loved it. I've never been disappointed by one of her books. Everything I've read I've really enjoyed, and I can't wait to read these. These look so fun, and this one's really short, and it's got like big letters in it, so that's gonna take like an hour, if that, to read, and I'm very excited to like breeze through this book. But that's pretty much, for the most part, all I've been reading this month, even though it's still early in the month. Pretty much the only books that I have been reading have been Mary Hahn books. So I got these, and I also finally got Autobiography. I got that from the library, so I'll be reading that too. I've wanted to read that for a really long time. I'm really excited that I've gotten back into reading. It's been like a long time since I've really read books. This year I've read more books than I've read in the past like 5 years. I really started to stop reading and focus more on watching YouTube and sitting on my butt all day doing nothing. But I really wish I was, ingesting more art and reading more books, because they're really fun, and I feel like I'm doing something instead of just watching YouTube and being like, what am I doing with my life? Like with these, I feel like I'm kind of getting something out of it. I've really enjoyed going to the library and using those apps to get books for free. I've used Hoopla and I've used Overdrive, and they've both been really fun. I haven't really wanted to spend money on books. The only books that I really like spending money on are R.L. Stine books, because I collect R.L. Stine. I have, a bunch of R.L. Stine books, and my whole goal is to like buy every R.L. Stine book that there is. But with other books and stuff, I tend to read it once and then donate. So I might as well go to the library and pick it up for free and then just take it back when I'm done, because it's not really worth it for me to spend 10 bucks on one book and then never read it again. I put these on hold, so I didn't even have to like go around the library and find them, because most of them were at a different library. But some were at my library, but I just put them all on hold, and they were all together in the reservation section. And then I was able to check out on a self-checkout computer. So it was super easy and super quick, which I love, because sometimes I don't like leaving my house. I don't like talking to strangers, and knowing that I'm going somewhere where I'm probably going to have to talk to someone kind of makes me just want to stay home, kind of makes me nervous. So knowing that the library has the place where you can just get the reservations, do the self-checkout, and go home, like, it's wonderful. So if you're like me and you kind of get a little anxious leaving your house, your library might actually be updated where you don't have to worry about anything like that. And of course the ebook websites, you don't have to leave your home for that, which I love. I just take it with me on my phone, and some of them I read on my computer too. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day. I recently went on a little vacation to Orlando for a weekend, and I read quite a bit, and I really had a lot of fun. So now I'm starting to think of moving to Orlando, and I know I was talking about moving to North Carolina, but now I'm thinking Orlando, just because I love it so much. It's so creative. It's very inspiring, and I want to be somewhere like that. That might be where I end up. Who knows? Who knows with me? Tomorrow I'll change my mind again. But I've been loving these books. I highly recommend them. I'll link everything below, probably just on Amazon. Those tend to be pretty easy to find. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you in my next video.